Alex Cosper with Joel Denver.
Hello, my man. Nice to see you, Alex.
Yeah, great to see you in your office again here in Malibu. All Access, great place. It's the #1 music/radio website for the industry.
Thank you. Well, we did about 25 million page views last year.
That's awesome.
We're pretty excited about that. And it's a business-to-business site, so it's, and Google or Facebook does that in about 5 seconds, but we're pretty happy about that. That's pretty exciting for us.
Joel, I want to ask you about your career. I've been documenting people's careers in the music and radio industry, and of course, you know a lot of people in the industry and a lot of people know you, and so I'm just curious about your history. Now, everyone knows that you had been the CHR editor at R&R for many years. Tell us about your career that led up to that.
I really desperately wanted to be in radio when I was a teenager. And I knocked on a lot of doors, and at 15 I got my first break in January of 1968. And my mom had to drive me to the radio station. I didn't have a driver's license.
What station was
it was
that?
a WINX, an AM radio station in Rockville, Maryland, at 1600. Couldn't be a worse frequency. Its 1,250 transmitter was like, whew.
So
No, it was 1,500. I'm sorry, but it was pretty bad. It was a pretty bad
So you
signal.
couldn't get it everywhere?
No, it's like, it was just, the wind was blowing right, it helped.
Okay. All right, and so you were on the air?
Yeah.
All right, and then how long were you on the air before you ended up at R&R?
Oh, I did about 13 years of radio, and that included being a program director and, traveling around the country. Me and you all went steady, different job, different market, stuff like that. So.
What were some of the markets?
Well, I started out at Winks in Rockville, and then I went over to WPGC in Washington as a part-timer, and that was back when WPGC was a mono 25,000 watt radio station. The owners at the time did not want to spend the money for the stereo exciter and stereo boards and stuff like that, so it was pretty funny. And I was going to the University of Maryland, and I did 1 semester at the University of Maryland, and I said, I'm just going to stick with radio. I like this. And that's what I did. I just put all my emphasis towards that. And my next job was down at WNOR AM in Norfolk. I did late nights there, and then I went to WAYS in Charlotte, and I was doing nights for about 2 weeks, and then they moved me to afternoons. And then I got the opportunity of a lifetime, and I applied for and got the late night show at WFIL in Philadelphia. So I worked 9 to 1 at night. Followed this
legendary.
Exactly, and I followed this amazing guy, George Michael, who taught me a lot. The whole staff taught me a lot. I got a chance to work with a legend, Jay Cook. And shortly after I was there, George left and he went to WABC, and the music director's job came open, and I just stuck my hand up and waved and I said, I want the damn job. And I got the job. So I just took over as music director, and I got a lot of connections at that point, and I just networked around, and I had my first opportunity to program in summer of '77. So I went to FIL in Philly in '73, so I was there 4.5 years, January '73. And my friend Charlie Lake, he and I had worked at Winks together as part-timers, and we were just, amazing friends. And he became the vice president of programming for Bartell Broadcasting. And he brought me to Miami, and I programmed 96X in Miami, WPOW. No, WMJX were the call letters back then. And then they moved me to San Diego to KCBQ, and then they moved me to KSLQ in St. Louis, and I got fired.
It happens.
It does. And then I was off on the beach for a few weeks or so, and then I got an opportunity to program WBSB B104 Baltimore. I put the station on the air, and I had a terrific time. And they had a change in management, and the guy that hired me left, and E. Carl, terrific guy, and he went to work for a research company. And the new guy that came in was an equally smart guy, but he and I did not sort of see the same vision for the radio station, so I was out of there.
It happens a lot.
It does. So I was, looking for the next thing, and I kind of thought, maybe I don't want to do programming anymore, because, just running around the country and changing jobs and a changing market, it sucks moving. Yeah. So, and I grew up in the D.C. area, so I had a chance to hang out with some friends from school and
some politicians.
No politicians. And and my mom was there, and And so I started working in the Washington office for R&R, and I'd put on a coat and tie, every day, which I kept on the back of my door because I didn't want to wear a coat and tie to work every day. And I'd run over to the FCC and search through their files over there, and I learned how to, do that. I learned the process at R&R. And Bob Wilson had said when he hired me that if I did okay, he would bring me out to the West Coast. I did not know what the job was at the time, but I was there about 2 months. I started in September of 1980, and then. And around November, he called me and said, okay, hire your replacement. I said, well, what am I coming out for? And then he told me I was going to be the CHR editor, and I was like, wow. So that was another amazing opportunity. So I spent 14 absolutely terrific years at R&R.
And as CHR editor, you got to know just about everybody in the nation that was a CHR, which was top 40 programmer and music director.
Yeah, it was just a fabulously fun job. I mean, I did get to meet a whole lot of people, and a lot of artists and record executives and managers. I mean, it was a gateway job. You know what I mean? It was a gateway to opportunity. And I was able to put together a syndicated show that ran for 11 years, Future Hits. And I also took over for when Lou Irwin left Earth News. I did that for a short period of time too. So I had a little fun doing that. It was actually a lot of fun doing that. So, I was there 14 years, and I kind of felt it was time to do something a little different. And I had had a computer since about 1981, and I was,
a little before the home computer revolution.
Yeah, but I had one, and it was like, it was one of those acoustic couplers, so that's how you got online with a phone. You put it in a cradle.
CompuServe.
Yeah, something. Actually, I was on AOL.
Okay.
I was on AOL. And I basically, as I started to think about where things were going, and at R&R they had a computerized system where they were trying to do their version of BDS. But they were trying some news into it. And I thought that was smart, but they had a lot of system problems, and it was not really reliable. So when it came time to leave, I had a couple of opportunity choices. I mean, I could have joined a label. I had a couple labels that were talking to me. I could have joined another independent promotion outfit, or I could have been a consultant. But I decided to do this, and my wife and I, Rhea, formed this company in January of 1995, and we started promoting music to radio stations. I knew how I wanted to be promoted. It was, not pushed real hard, but, facts and great information.
All right.
So,
like a trade magazine online.
Well, this is before we put the site up. I didn't put the site up until January, October of that year.
Okay.
So it was just basically me on the phone, talking to my friends, and and starting generating revenue that way.
Okay. And
it worked out really well. So in June, I met with a company, and it was the company is called Fountainhead. Really nice people, and Jonathan Hartman was the guy, and we laid out a site. And of course, back then, you couldn't just generate graphics as easily as you can today. So it took several weeks of fine tuning, and I think we had 9 pages to the site in the very beginning. And so we put it up in October of 1995, and it got found real fast because I was talking to people about it and telling them about it, of course, and the word spread. And the next thing you know, we were like doing thousands of logins a week, and it was like, wow. So I knew we had something. And when I would go to the labels to do our first demos, had a version 1 of IBM ThinkPad, which at the time was a revolutionary little computer, and took it to New York. And because nobody had a computer at their desk at that time in 95 or early 96, and they had PBX systems for their phone systems, the only place I could find a dial tone in the building was at the fax machine. So I can't tell you how many demos I did plugging this little IBM ThinkPad into a dial-up, at the fax machine to do a demo. So it was pretty interesting. Of course, we were 2400 baud or 5600 baud back then, and it was like it took forever. I mean,
dial-up, yeah.
Dial-up. It was.
But broadband kind of took over around 2003, 2004.
Yeah, but we'd already started in '95, so
right.
We had a lot of years of spool up and ramp up, or whatever you want to call it, just to making, and winning over people to like putting down the paper, putting down magazines, and and faxes, and looking at news in real time and information in real time. And we were blessed to form some great strategic alliances with people like MediaBase and Promo Suite, and and it's been a really remarkable run. And I have to tell you, I'm so blessed to have a great staff of people. I mean, we have an office in Nashville, and we have people all over the country that work for us. I mean, we have 11 or 12 people that.
Some came from R&R, like Sean Alexander.
Exactly. When Sean was out of work over there, I grabbed him. I got Paul Colbert from sales, Matt Parvis, who was our vice president of sales. He was an R&R alumni as well too, so he came aboard and joined us. And it was just kind of fun to just to see these wonderfully experienced people that wanted the job and wanted to come work for us. And it's all worked out. I mean, most of our employees have been here almost as long as the company's been up. We had very, very little turnover.
So now it's basically the kind of what R&R was back in the day. It's like some might call it the Bible of the industry.
That's awfully nice.
but I mean, realistically, it is the central place where everyone goes to find news about the radio and music industries.
Well, we really wanted this to create this one-stop, this portal, and it worked. I mean, in radio it used to be you had to specialize in a format. You couldn't be all things to all people. But we felt we could do that, and as consolidation happened, and more people wore more hats, and the Top 40 program director became the News Talk program director at the same time, and then he added Hot AC. We realized that by expanding formats and having these people used to coming to this place and offering them more for their visit. In other words, like more opportunities to learn or to find the information that they needed in one place. It worked for us. It really did. And and we've I guess got this dynamic team of radio specialists. I mean, we're in Top 40 mainstream. We're in rhythmic. We're in alternative, we're in rock, we're in Christian, we're in country, we have News Talk Sports, we have Hot AC, we have urban, we have I mentioned Christian. It's it's very diverse. We're trying to cover all the main food groups of music. So
obviously the music industry will always be around. The names might change, but just like the radio industry is probably going to be around for several more decades.
Oh, absolutely. There's no reason for it not to be.
The internet, on the other hand, I mean, you have lots of internet radio stations developing, but it still hasn't really become mainstream yet, wouldn't you say?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of users to Pandora, there's a lot of users to Spotify, and and a lot of people.
But I understand that less than 1% subscribe.
Yes.
All these services.
Well, exactly. It's like because they've been weaned to get their music for free.
Yeah.
Radio has taught them that you just should be able to turn a button on, hear what you want to hear. So that's the problem they have. But that works okay for radio's business model.
Sure.
I mean, we're used to paying, running spots and stuff like that, and it's just become a little bit more of a challenge for traditional radio. And I believe that Pandora is a form of radio, and Spotify is a form of radio. It's self-curated, though. You know what I'm saying, for the most part. And there's been some research that shows that the self-curation process is getting a little old. People don't want to spend as much time formulating their own playlists, and if you look at the numbers, the people using radio has continued to rise. It's not falling off. The time spent listening, that is falling off.
Right.
But it's like, but
in the car.
Yeah, the car is the main place, exactly. But, as you have iHeart and these portable platforms that are available on your phones, people use those in that manner too. They'll toggle back and forth. As Nielsen is getting ready to be able to monitor all of the streams and stuff like that and add that into the ratings, that's something they're working on. All the digital listening, that's going to help radio too, where it's duplicate programming. They're going to get instead of going off and missing unencoded streams and stuff like that, they're going to be able to hear coded streams. You know what I'm saying? And they'll be able to pick up all that listening.
Well, Joel, I know that no matter what the future is of music, radio, and internet, you'll be there.
I hope so. It's like we're working hard to stay relevant. I think anybody that's in any business today, Alex, you've just gotta go forward and keep your ears open. It's like, we started, all access downloads, which is, a digital music delivery system for the business. There were competitors out there, but we felt that we could do it better, and we have. And I think, we're doing business now with just about every major label, in every format, and and radio, because they come here already. They decided, well, we might as well get our music here too. So it sort of became a synergistic, line item growth, or a new silo for our business. But one of the most gratifying things, I think, for all of us up here is when we can talk to somebody and they've just lost a job, and we give them it gives them publicity for them, and all of a sudden their friends reach out. And there's that sense of rally, that sense of community for them, that sense that people care about them. And then when we're able to hook them up with a job. In other words, we don't necessarily open the door; they get the job themselves, but we might point out an opportunity.
Sure.
Or we might say to some program director, they know this guy got blown out, and he's a really good on-air jock, and somebody in that same format that didn't know about him, and they didn't know about this opening, and all of a sudden the guy said, I need an afternoon drive, and all of a sudden you know somebody. And you put them together, and they work out a deal.
Right.
I don't think there's anything more gratifying in the world than seeing something like that happen, where you're making a difference in somebody's life.
Definitely. Joel, you've helped thousands of careers, and it's great talking with you.
Thank you very much, Alex. I appreciate this, and continued success with your website, too.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.